I watched a multimillionaire go broke part 7. This is the real part 7. The previous one that says part 7 is part 6. My bad. And I don't know how to change that. So let's go. So, okay, so now that the cat's out the bag, she has all this money. I'm like, girl, you got to live it up some more. So I'm like, let's go. So we going to all these different islands, going to vacations or whatever, blah, 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 blah. We going shopping, all of that. We're not overdoing it, but I'm saying live a little. But in the meanwhile, I hear her on the phone a lot with her mother and some other people in her country, and they're speaking in her language. But I would hear names being thrown out and this and that and this and that. And then the whole goal for her with her community, they wanted her to remarry, and they wanted her to remarry with someone with more money, because that's what you do when you rich. You marry rich. When you start getting low, which that was their low, which was like, I've never seen that kind of money in my life. You got to go get you a man with some more money so you can put it together, or, prenup or whatever, but live off of him. So I had this name started being thrown around a lot. And we would start going to these gatherings and stuff where we would dress up in like their type of custom clothes and stuff like that. So I got to meet a lot more rich people, oil money people, big timers. I mean, one lady that I know that she that was a very good friend of hers, her house looked like a neighborhood. We would go over there and they would have tea, and I would be just like sitting out by the pool like, this is crazy. But everybody was in her ear and her culture saying, you got to get married, you got to get married. And so this name kept getting thrown around, and all of a sudden she came to me and she was like, yeah, kid, I'm going to marry this guy, blah, 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 blah. Well, the guy was her cousin. See, in their culture, you can marry in your family, right? As long as it's not your siblings. And they'd like to do that. The royal family does it. Everybody does it everywhere else but America. Okay, so let's not act like this is something like, oh my goodness. Well, the family got together. They knew what her situation was. They're trying to protect her as a woman and her reputation. They want to get her married. They want to get some more money coming in. And so the mother gets with her siblings and they recommend a certain relative. And the relative is supposed to have money, right? Big money, like money, long money. And so he comes into the picture, just coming by sometimes. They go out sometimes or whatever. And I'm watching him because he looking a little sneaky. He looking real slithery to me. He looked like a lizard to me. He was not attractive at all. So when I first met her, she was like, what you think? And she was like, he's ugly. She was like, he's ugly. He's not her type. She don't like him. She's crying, but she's going to have to do it. So I'm like, you're not 19 with no prearranged marriage. You could find somebody else. She's like, girl, time is winding up. I'm a certain age now. We got to go. And I'm like, okay, but if that's what you want. But he did have a major business and everything like that. So I was like, I did see the business. It was like a fleet of limousines at the time, car service. And he had like different contracts with like the airport and some of the, what do they call, convention centers, stuff like that. So party buses, like people want to go to like the aquarium, they were rent buses. He had all of this stuff going on. So he did have a business, a substantial business, and some other stuff I didn't know about. And we didn't get along too well, me and him, because he was like, he felt like I was in the way. He saw me handling her expenses, and he was really trying to get me out of the picture. But at that time, she had been so, how can I say it, so used to me, and I was so secure for her, and she knew I wouldn't let nothing happen to her, that she really, gripped onto me at that time. And so I keep saying her name accidentally, so I'm going to bleep it out before I put this one up. And so he couldn't get rid of me. And I was like, I ain't going nowhere. But he had so many cars, so I would leave the house. She was like, here, park your car. I would leave the house sometimes, because they would have like several cars on her property. I would leave the house sometimes in a Benz today, and a BMW tomorrow, and a this tomorrow, and a that tomorrow. I mean, I was driving like, people would see me roll up on campus like, what? I was like, yeah. And I was just living the life. I was getting all kind of designer this, designer that, gifts and stuff like that. She loved me. And I never asked for anything, but she was looking out for me, and he didn't like that. He was like, yeah, I'm getting rid of her. And I was American too. And I was African American on top of that. He was like, oh no, she got to go. But no, she's not. And so I stayed. It got to the point where he started trying to, trip on her. Like, I didn't like the way he was treating her. And she was like, I don't know. He became verbally abusive. He became very mean and stuff like that. But she still was looking for love, and she still wanted love. And I was like, I don't know what to say at this point. You don't get into people's relationships. So I really did respect and mind my business, right? And so I didn't, when they were arguing, whatever, I mind my business, do my work, whatever, act like I wasn't there. If he came out of the pocket with me, I'll set him straight. Hello? It's not that type of party. You don't talk to me no kind of way. I'll trip. I'll be like, you don't talk to me like that. You can talk to anybody else in here like that, but you're not going to talk to me like that. It's not happening. Respect me because I respect you. You got that? And he got it. I don't play like that. I don't care who you are, how much money you got. You're not going to talk to me any kind of way because you're having a bad day. So anyway, they were courting. They were engaged. They had an engagement party. It was hilarious, okay? She came down the stairs like shimmying. I was dying. But, yeah, that was wild. So they got married. So they got married in their country, right? So they do that traditionally. They got married in their country. They weren't there. They were in America. And then they had a small little shindiggy here for immediate friends and family and stuff like that. I was like, the whole way she was walking to the aisle, I was like, violins of sad was playing for me in the background. But I was like, I know, I understand the pressure in her culture and her family and all that. She got to do what she got to do. So, girlfriend, more power to you. They got married. He moved into her house. I was like, why is she moving to her house? Because we had been to his house in Buckhead, right? And it was a decent house, but it wasn't all like her house. So that was a red flag for me. I was like, why his house? But I was like, he's a man. So, men be scrubby sometimes. They don't really pay attention to that. And, a lot of men that have a lot of money like that, they don't really even look at like how they dress and stuff like that. He wasn't fashionable or anything. I didn't even see designer stuff. I really didn't see any designer stuff. I just saw him with a plain old little button-down shirt or a suit on, looking tired. I mean, tired. Okay. But she was happy she had a man by that time, and he had some money. So then he moves in. I don't pay him no attention. I work with her. In their culture, men and women don't really be conversating and getting around each other anyway. So he did his thing. I didn't pay him no attention. I come in and work with her, and I'd leave, and that'd be that. Done. I'm going home. Bye. A lot of times I had to rescue him from her. A lot of stuff went down. She'd be crying and calling me and this and that and da-da-da. And then he hooked her up with one of his friends. This lady, she looked like a beach bum. She was from Florida. She was blonde. And she wore like Bo Derek braids. And she would like be with I gotta block it out again. That lady, I know a crackhead when I see one, to be honest with you. I know a crackhead when I see one. I was like, that lady is trash, and you don't need to be around her. She trash, man. She's like, no, she works for him. It's okay. I was like, she's trash. That's like the lowest trail of trash you could get. Like, you don't hang around people like that. I don't talk to people like that. I'm not better than nobody, but I don't deal with people that look like that. Like, you don't, that's not it. And she's naive. She don't know. And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, what's really going on? Well, that's coming in part 8. Child, it's getting real juicy now.